It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life.
It's you.
Aren't you supposed to be hosting an anthology?
Oh yeah. Well, let's get to it.
Hold on, I think I should do it.
I'm the one that came up with the idea and asked my friends to make segments. I'm putting it all together. You just showed up. Uh-oh.
Hello, and welcome to EvilStevel's Scarlet Cinema, Volume 1. He got a little bit jumped up, so I'll be our host, Dr. Incisor. Tonight we have for you a selection of short films from many talented filmmakers. To kick it off, we have a film from Dave Maggot and Queenie Todd. They would like to invite you to go through the portal. What is it good for? Unless it's Junebug Films, The War of the Worlds.
No one would have believed in the early years of the new millennium that human affairs were being watched from the timeless world to space. No one could have dreamed that we were being scrutinized as if someone with a microscope studies creatures that swarm and multiply in a drop of water. Few men even considered the possibility of life on other planets. And yet, through the gulf of space, minds immeasurably superior to our own regarded this Earth with envious eyes. And yet, slowly and surely, they threw their plans against us. The things came down with their huge war machine in a complete disarray. It was like the new plague or Spanish flu. They came down with their diseases, like the outbreak of 2020, and then the riots started. And they don't care your race. They don't care if you're black or white or blue or purple. They care about destruction. They use their machines to turn you into something else. They first spike you and then transfer their blood to their machines to fuel them. This may be the apocalypse that the Bible spoke of. Or who knows? It could even be some of those zombie invasion movies that we love so much. But these things are true monsters. This is real horror right here. No weapons can stop them. I say for all you peace with God, you better make it right now. Because this is not the utopia that you wanted. This is our annihilation. You must fight for what you believe in with this. So, you can prove to us we are the smart species, and listen for that awful noise, and give them hell.
Hey, Mom. Yep, today's the big day. I'm just about to take this bandage off. Yeah. I'm gonna find out if my retinal surgery was successful. If I'm not blind, but, you know, if worst case scenario, I got my right eye still. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it hurts. Alright, well, I'll call you back and let you know how it goes. Alright, bye. Alright, well, let's see if my surgery was successful. Fuck. God damn it. Yeah, they fucked up. I can see into the fucking shadow realm.
I see the eyes have it, or in this case, the eye. Here's a little film from Death Central. And you know how they say, he said, she said? Well, in this film, she knows.
So, you never believed in ghosts, spirits, or entities?
You should.
You're listening to one right now.
They've warned me not to play alone. But I didn't care. That night, even though I was really respectful to the board,
It must have been cursed.
because I haven't had time to find something to say. And I see a girl in my head.
And my head hurts.
Is she doing that?
It definitely feels demonic.
That pain is unbearable.
It smells like death. It's not feeling normal here anymore. I'm starting to feel uneasy all through my body. All I can think of is dying. I had to get away from that thing. That's when I saw her.
Oh, what a sad, sad end for such a lovely beard. Next up is the origin story of another masked man. Here is Movie Massacre Origins.
Many a year ago, a scarecrow tasked with guarding the pumpkin field found himself in a life-changing predicament. For he was told if he ever left his post, a curse upon him would be placed. On the night of All Hallows Eve, the scarecrow for one night could leave this post free of consequence. The only catch, that he had to return before the clock struck 12. On this day, the scarecrow left, only to return past his curfew. The pumpkin field had now putrefied, and a foul stench filled the air. The farmer, furious with rage, kept to his word and cursed the scarecrow to an eternity of torture and sorrow. The scarecrow was never seen or heard from again until a man, experimenting in his toolshed, would accidentally release the curse of the pumpkin scarecrow. The more the man fought, the stronger the scarecrow became, until man, scarecrow, and pumpkin became one in the same, leading to the creation of Movie Massacre.
Wow, very interesting indeed. Maybe one day I'll share my origin story. Max Washington presents a story about something you all try to hide, and that is your true self.
I'm alright, I'm just a little tired. I'm just gonna take a walk.
For me, your friend. Bring me souls. Kill for me. Your friend, the Dark Lord.
I killed 3 people tonight, Master.
That's a good start. Now keep going. Good, you've learned I sense good rising up in you again, boy. Resist it! Resist it! Good. Now you are back to your true self. Can't you feel it? This is the way you always meant to be. Horror films are made? Well, Anthropomantic Feed would like to give you the formula.
God, these movies are formulaic. Professor never got the chance to write the formula down, so I hope I got this right. If it's wrong, it'll ruin everything. Copious amounts of blood. Of course the recipe wants virgin blood. Fog for atmosphere. You see this? This is fog juice. What else? Let's see. Oh yeah. That should do it. Now I just set it on fire. It's done. Now, to test it. Oh, hell no. Guess that means the only thing I can do is test it on myself. Well, here goes. Disgusting. Did the doctor actually say what this stuff did? Guess I'll find out. Wait. I can feel something. It hurts. Oh my god. Oh my god, it hurts. It was all a dream. Damn it. Thought I was onto something. Hi there. The hell? Yes. Hell is exactly where you've been condemned to. I don't understand. I mean, I followed the formula. Oh yes, you followed the formula, but you forgot one very essential ingredient. And what's that? Sex appeal. What? You heard me. About it, who's gonna come see your horror movie? Sex appeal? You do realize it's just me. Did you say horror movie? Duh. This is a science experiment. I made a serum. That's what you think. But serum or horror movie, you added all the ingredients you thought were essential. Blood, fog for atmosphere, a nasty little personal touch. But you forgot an essential ingredient. And now all you'll have is copious amounts of blood that nobody's ever gonna see. You know, you'd make a terrible critic. Shut up. God, these movies are formulaic.
Ah, yes. Very enjoyable. Had a very old school feel that I like. And now, for our final presentation. The Art of Horror. I'd like you all to meet Lita.
Rain hit the window of the hardware store as the little bell above the door rang to signal the arrival of a new customer. A tall, dark-haired woman in her early 30s entered the local small-town shop and shook off the wet from the weather. She scanned the store and saw the shopkeeper and two very gruff-looking men had obviously stopped mid-conversation as she had entered and were now gawping at her. "Do you have chains? Padlocks?" she inquired to the man behind the counter. "Well, yes we do, sweetie," pointing, "aisle 6, next to the fencing supplies." "What do you need them for?" he asked with a smirk. "Can I help you with anything?" The three men were sniggering like morons as they watched her move towards the items she wanted. Lita was unconventionally attractive, with dark brown eyes and long, straight, jet black hair. She was athletic and broad-shouldered. She selected a large roll of chain and felt its sturdiness. "Can I get a hand here, mate? I need 6 meters of this, and I'll take 2 of these large locks as well. Thank you." The older gent behind the counter sighed the sigh of a man who did not want to move, for what he deemed to be such a petty purchase. Obviously some sort of artsy-fartsy project, he thought. He saw these type of people come into the hardware store occasionally, and they annoyed the hell out of him with their projects. Lita headed back to the yellow Volkswagen Golf with her purchase. She was parked next to a large 4-wheel drive that was covered in mud. Hooks and chains hung clanking from a lighting bar above the roof on the obvious hunting vehicle. Barking erupted from the back of the truck from 2 dogs, stretching the chains to their limits. Although her purchase was quite heavy, and the man behind the counter had offered his help, as he was not devoid of all manners, she had no trouble at all lifting the 50 kilograms or so of chain and the 2 hefty locks. As she loaded up her car, she heard the front door of the hardware store tinkle open. One of the men yelled at the dogs, "Shut up!" The car suspension lowered a tad as she put the items in the back seat. Lita got in the driver's side, started her car, backed out of the parking space and started on her journey. Sunshine broke through a momentary hole in the cloud cover. It was late afternoon and the bright light made her squint to see the road ahead. She felt its warmth on her face and it felt good. She was a little out of town now and admiring the beauty of the trees as she coasted down the slightly windy road. That is when she heard the roar of an engine. She She looked in her rear view, only to see the white, muddy Rodeo's bull bar for a moment. The truck smashed into the back of the little yellow car with force. Lita lost control as she overcorrected from the collision. The little yellow Volkswagen went tumbling into a ditch violently. The car came to rest, suddenly, the right way up. The airbag had deployed on the side. Safety glass was everywhere as she felt warm blood running down her face as a dirty hand reached in, holding a stiff, dirty rag that smelt like oil and something else. The rag covered her mouth and nose. She felt lightheaded for a moment, and then everything went black. Corey had just finished unhooking the wrecked Volkswagen they had towed back to the shack. He had given Ricky just one job to do: tie the girl up so she couldn't get away. Ricky stepped out onto the veranda, rolling a cigarette, screen door squealing shut behind him. "All done, Ricky?" Corey asked his dim-witted sidekick. "Done as a doodle," Ricky retorted, and they both laughed at this. "The sun's going down, mate. Let's crack a tinny, put on some akadaka and have some fun." The sound of a window smashing out the back of the old ramshackle hut rang out. Corey glared at his mate. "You wanker, can't you do anything right?" They both ran inside, but it was too late. The remains of the wooden chair Lita had been tied to were strewn everywhere, and the rope that had bound her to the chair was on the floor. The window was completely smashed out, and the crusty remains of the curtains blew in the light breeze. Corey hung his head out of the square hole in the wall where a window had once been. All he could see was the dirt track leading through the pine forest out the back. It was hard to see, as the sun had gone down and everything looked grey. There was no sign of the girl. "Get the dogs, knobhead. We're going hunting." God rays from the spotlight shone through the tree line. The V8 engine of the pickup growled to a low rumble. The whole time the light scanned through the foliage. Light constantly shifting as it pivoted from its point on top of the vehicle, keeping its operator hidden behind the light. The truck moved slowly, branches and brush cracking under its weight. Lita stopped moving and lay low behind a large pine tree as the light came her way, pine needles uncomfortably pricking into her exposed flesh. She was not wearing much, as her clothes, wet from light rain, had been torn to tatters. Pain shot up from the soles of Lita's bare feet. "Oh Jesus, they can see me," she thought as the truck slowed. The light scanned overhead for what felt like the longest second of her life. "You can run all you like," a man's voice yelled from the truck. "We will find you." She looked to the sky. Light cold rain spat in her face. The moon was hidden behind a layer of cloud. Navigating these woods was hard enough during the day, but in the dark, every step was met with clawing branches and sharp bramble. The pickup truck rumbled to a stop, and the engine went quiet. The ticking sound from the change of temperature to the engine echoed through the trees, and the light, still reaching out into the darkness, looking for her. "There's some ripped cloth hanging from that branch over there, Corey. Get the dogs out, brother." The sound of the door slamming so loud in the still of the night. Lita was trying to control her breathing, which was not only proving impossible, but she felt like it was every bit as loud as the sounds coming from the men in the truck. That's when she heard the barking. She heard more cracking branches as the men followed the noses of the canine trackers, moving towards her. "I have to move," she thought as they got closer. "Now!" She got up and started running. Every step was met with pain. The dogs went berserk. "Where is she, Goldie? Where is she, boy?" "Shine the light over there, Ricky," Corey ordered his slow-witted friend. Ricky did as he was instructed. "There she is, Corey. I see her. I see her." Light from the truck bathed Lita as she ran, the sound of the barking dogs getting closer. She fell hard, not understanding why she had stopped running so suddenly. She never heard the crack of the hunting rifle as the bullet tore through her upper thigh. She only felt searing pain as she lay on the forest floor. I got her, Ricky." Lita rolled onto her back and looked up at the sky. She heard the man and his dogs almost upon her now. She screamed in agony into the night air. The scream turned into a howl, but not from the burning pain of the bullet, or the thought of being caught and murdered. The clouds had started to thin, allowing the light from the glorious full moon to shine through onto Lita's normally handsome features. Her face was contorting, shifting. The crack of bone under the skin could be heard, as loud as the crack of any branch underfoot or the dog's barking. Her change was rapid. Each part of her body, section by section, looked like when you grab a half-filled balloon too hard and it herniates between your fingers. Her hands and feet were first to morph as the change rippled over her with explosive, violent speed. The two dogs that were so intent on catching their prey moments ago went dead quiet, stood their ground, growling into the darkness, as their master, out of breath from running, caught up to them. "What's the matter, Goldie? Skitch him, girl." A deep, guttural growl cut through the trees and night air. Both dogs immediately put their tails between their legs and ran off into the darkness, whimpering. Corey heard the crack of branches in front of him. The light from the truck, like a lighthouse, rested on not one, but two figures. What he was looking at didn't register at first, his jaw gaping like an idiot, and his eyes bulging like a cartoon character. It looked just like a wolf, but it was standing like a person. The creature towered over him by at least a good 3 feet. He looked down at the grey furry clawed feet and slowly up until his gaze met with glowing yellow eyes and large white fangs covered in drool. 2 clawed giant hands reached out and grasped him around the waist, picking him up like a small child. He screamed a blood-curdling primal scream, laden with terror. The huge, hulking monster opened its maw and snapped into his neck like it was made of the same twigs that broke underfoot. Corey's head popped off like a cork. Thick, guttural blood poured from the stump where his head once was. The beast lifted his body and drank the warm, gushing fluid, black under the moonlight, in big, slurping gulps. Ricky let out a childlike screech. The wolf creature stopped drinking immediately, fixing its yellow-eyed gaze upon the spotlight's source. No, fuck no. Ricky fumbled with the bolt action on his rifle. Fear had taken over what reflexes he once had. The giant wolf monster leapt towards him in great bounds and closed distance with lightning speed. The rifle rang out as a huge clawed paw swiped at him. The bullet missing its target and only finding darkness. In one swing, his jaw came off like a broken toy. His tongue lolled where his mouth had once been, trying to say the word no. Only a gurgled, baby-like cry emitted from the gaping wound that he'd once called a mouth. The creature jumped on him, biting into his neck and feeding on his flesh as he twitched and thrashed, feeling every bite as his life drained from him. Lita howled at the moon and feasted.
It looks like those men might have learned their lesson. Not all strangers are helpless victims. That concludes Volume 1 of EvilStevel's Scarlet Cinema. I hope you enjoyed all of our presentations tonight. And
you son of a bitch!
I've gotta go.
Get over here. Okay. Now we can start this thing.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have
It's
been
over?
returning to life.
God damn it!
Innocent people killed. Not a sign of a human.
killed by a shot in the head.
Nosferatu, the medieval vampire in the remote regions of Transylvania.